Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by my playing partner, Mr. Andrew Hansen. Andrew, how are you on this wonderful Wednesday? Are you ready for some golf?
Oh, can't wait. Yep, it's springtime. We're in Florida here, back to an individual event after a dramatic finish at the Zurich last weekend. And the winners are taking the week off, Leishman and Smith. But the runner
Yeah,
up guys, Oosthuizen and Schwartzel, are in this field. And man, that was a tough finish for Louis Oosthuizen, hitting that one in the drink in the
yeah.
playoffs. But they're out here looking to back it up with another high finish.
Yeah, it was fun actually to watch. I mean, I like I had mentioned last week's pod. I love that alternate shot stuff. I just think it's really cool to see how they play that out. But those guys are so darn good, man. It's amazing, and to see Louis, choke there was stunning for the veteran. But that's golf.
That is, and that's pressure. That's the playoff guy who usually does not make mistakes like that. He's so solid.
Yeah,
But yeah, made it for a really dramatic finish.
yeah, no doubt. He wasn't hitting the ball as well as I did on my birthday out there at Top Golf.
Oh
Man,
yeah,
he should have.
he needs a couple lessons, huh?
He needs to come and check that out. I was not in the water at all there because there was no water, but that's
Exactly.
okay. But anyway, this is the Valspar Championship. It's the Innisbrook Resort, the Copperhead course, par 71, 7340. So it's challenging. There's going to be some water and some trouble, no doubt about it. And an oddity here is obviously we didn't have a 2020 event here with COVID, but we did have a back-to-back champion with Paul Casey winning it in 2018 and 2019. So he's going for a three-peat, which should be interesting.
Yeah, imagine. How could you said that with a straight face? How could you do that with Paul Casey, the guy who's been, a very important figure for us in DFS recently? Imagine if we'd been doing shows back then,
Oh,
before that
jeez.
one week where he crushed us. We may have swept up all the winnings with Paul Casey.
I'll tell you what, man. He is not a friend of DFS Coach Talk. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, that should suffice.
Exactly.
But
Well, yeah, you want to give us some stats? Give us some of that wisdom that's going to help us narrow down who we want to decide on for this event.
yeah, well, just following up on that initial description there of this course, it is tougher than a lot of courses. You don't see the scores that are quite as low, and you get some guys who are strong tee to green like Casey. It's not about enormous length. It's a little bit more about playing it smart, avoiding the trouble. We've got some more trees than you might see normally in Florida, dog legs, elevation changes. And so, as Dustin Johnson said leading into this week, he's happy with 2 under every day. Just
Hmm.
give me a solid 2 under round, right around 69, 70, and I'm happy. I know I'm going to be there in contention. So, that's the overall mindset here. And the course layout is interesting because it is a par 71, but there are still 4 par 5s and 5 par 3s, four of which are long, 200 to 225 yards. So
Yikes.
that's one of the stats I looked at was par 3s from 200 to 225 efficiency. And
Nice.
if we start there, Coach, we're going to be talking about some value plays right away because interesting that looking at the top 20 on this list for this calendar or this season, it's a lot of guys who are shorter hitters, more value plays compared to the strokes gained tee to green stat that I looked at. It's a lot more of the big names, the longer
Yeah.
hitters, higher ranked guys. So it's really a contrast there. But let's get into these par 3s. Start out with some names that people aren't really going to focus on, but hey, the secret of DFS golf, of course, is to get as many guys across the cut as you can. Push for 5 or 6, and you've got to find at least one guy who's a little bit cheaper, especially on Draftkings where the pricing is tougher. So, looking at this list, how about Tom Lewis is the highest ranked
Wow.
guy on this list who's in the field. He's third. 6,900. He finished tied for 8th last week in the team event. Next, we have Sam Ryder, another cheap option who did have 2 top 10s here recently. So he has the potential to go low. Vaughn
Need him
Taylor.
to make the Ryder Cup someday.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
He's got
dad
some
joke.
work to do to get there.
Yeah.
Vaughn Taylor is ultra cheap, but he's missed 4 of his last 5 cuts. He did have a couple decent finishes at this event recently, so you need him to return to form. Pat Perez is a guy who never seems to get in the top 20 lately. He'll make a few cuts and finish top 40, but not my favorite guy on the list because he just doesn't quite put 4 rounds together. Grayson Murray, another ultra cheap guy, 6,100 on DraftKings. He did tie for 3rd at Puerto Rico, so he's got potential, but very inconsistent, as a lot of these cheaper guys are. Bless you.
Me.
The next guy on this list is much more of a household name, and a guy that I'm pretty excited about this week. It's Keegan Bradley. He's 14th on this list. He's made 6 straight cuts.
Yeah.
Nice mid-tier price. And he's going to come up in the next category as well. He's the only guy in the top 20 on both of these stats. So I like Keegan. A few more here. Michael Gligic, another cheap guy, 6,300. He tied for 4th at Punta Cana. Michael Kim, bare minimum price, but he's missed his last 4 cuts, so I don't think I'll go there. Wesley Bryan, 6,400. He has some decent course history here. Finished tied for 25th at the RBC. And then last but not least, K.H. Lee, who's made his last couple of cuts. He's 6,800. So, I mean, the theme there, Coach, is nothing but 6K guys other than Keegan Bradley.
You know what that tells me is that really the par 3 scoring is not really a big deal for the big dogs. It's, birdie the par 4s, eagle the par 5s, and just survive on the par 3s,
Exactly. And then the other thing is these guys who are not the studs on tour, they know that they apparently have one strong skill comparatively. It's that length of shot on the par 3s, and they know that this course is a great place for them to take advantage of it, so they show up this week and play.
This may be the most highlighted par 3 course that they play on tour. I mean, we very seldom talk about the par 3s. They're sort of except for the couple of holes that are famous, but to have a series of them on this in this event, it's going to make it interesting, and it certainly allows you to get some value. I really like some of the guys that you said specifically. I think you're really onto something with Keegan Bradley. He's been nosing around trying to get a real high finish recently too. So, he's a good guy to hone in on at a great price.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And you're right. I mean, it's not very often that you have a course with 5 par 3s or with 4 long ones like this. So it is a little bit of a unique scenario.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of people struggle with those 200 plus par 3s because, it makes it so much harder to hit the greens. And it's amazing to me though, but when you really watch these guys on most courses, it's driver and then like a 9-iron or wedge or 8-iron. That's what it's just over and over again. And it's if they can make the putts. But, when you have 225 off the tee, whatever the case may be, it's a little bit different scenario for most of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Mid-iron.
I like it.
These guys are
I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, these guys are used to hitting wedges all day long. So get out a 4 or 5 iron. It's a little bit of a different scenario.
Yeah, although for some of those guys, 225, it's like a 7-iron, but still.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Depending on the wind.
Yeah. So you also look, let's jump right into tee to green. I mean, that's always such an important stat.
Yep. And now we get some guys that are much more household names, of course.
Yeah.
JT and DJ, the top 2 on that list who are playing this week. And then Victor Hovland is 8th. Corey Connors is 9th.
So 4 of the top 9 tee to green happen to be 4 of the top 6 favorites to win the event.
Exactly.
How about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we get Keegan. He's 10th on that list.
Wow.
For strokes gained tee degree this season. So it's all about the putter for him, and apparently He's made improvements there and is feeling good about the putter. So there's Keegan at 10. And then rounding out the top 20, we have Russell Henley. We have Charlie Hoffman, who he probably has more vacillation in his DFS price than most golfers. I mean, some weeks he's in the 6K range. This week he's 8,600 on DraftKings.
Jeez.
Every now and then you'll get him even higher on a alternate event or event that's not as popular. So he comes in at 8,600. Then we've got Doug Gim, who we like to mix in to our rosters to make the cut. He's only 7,300. And then
he's not playing bad golf. I mean, he really isn't.
And then John Huh. He's a bonus mention here because he's 21st in this category. He's only 7,000 on DraftKings, and he has a couple good finishes here. Another really steady guy who's under the radar, but, time after time, he's right around top 20, top 25. So that's plenty sufficient to build out a winning DFS lineup.
Well, I'll tell you, you're going to be tempted to jump on our sponsor, one of our sponsors here, betus.com.pa, because Mr. John Huh is 150 to 1. How about that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's tough with some of these guys to bet them to actually win.
I know.
It can be more profitable to look at the top 20s, top 30s, top 40s.
How about this, though? Keegan Bradley, 70 to 1. That's got to get your interest.
That has my interest. That's something
because he's
worth
won
looking
before. I mean, he's a U.S. Open champ, right?
PGA.
Or PGA.
Yeah,
okay.
he won the PGA.
He won one of the majors. Yeah.
He's been to the major international team events. Multiple time winner on tour. So there's a guy I'd feel better about placing a 2-win ticket on.
Right. And speaking of that, let's jump to the odds real quickly. I'll give you the top 10 because it's probably where everybody's going to have, I bet you, 2 of these guys in their lineups. Justin Thomas is 9 to 1, Dustin Johnson 10, and then you've got 20 to 1 Patrick Reed. One of our favorites recently, now 4th choice to win it at 20 to 1 is Corey Connors. His game has turned around this season. Paul Casey, the 2-time defending champ, 22 to 1, not bad. Victor Hovland, 22 to 1. Oosthuizen coming off that drink shot, 30 to 1, along with Abraham Answer and Soon JM, and then Scotty Scheffler. They're all tied at 30 to 1. And then Russell Henley's right with him at 30 to 1. So he's getting a lot of respect on the stat sheet. You want to take a stab at, let's see, since I gave you most of those guys, they're already set. How about if you catch 2 of the guys 15 to 20 and you only get 1 miss?
Whoa, 15 to 20. Wow.
Yes.
That is a challenge.
It's not easy either. Not easy
to 20.
Ones.
All right, how about Kevin Na?
Kevin Na's 22nd at 55 to 1.
That's absurd.
I know. That's a good price.
I like Kevin Na this week. He has a 2nd place finish here, tied for 12th at the Masters.
Yeah.
He's
had a good season.
Yeah. I like him, and a great price, 8,000 on DraftKings.
Give me another guess.
All right, 15 through 20. How about my man, Charlie Hoffman?
Correct. 16th. He is 50 to 1, though. Nice price on him.
Okay. How about your guy, your neck of the woods, Ryan Palmer?
You got it, man. You win again.
Right.
50 to 1 as well. 3 guys at 50 to 1. He's 19th. So your other guys in that group is Emiliano Grillo, Justin Rose, Bubba Watson, all the way down at 50 to 1, and Cameron Tringale, another guy we've played a little bit. I sort of like the guy right below them at 55 to 1, Chris Kirk.
Yep.
Sneaky play today or this week.
Yeah, he's made a resurgence lately. And, that's an interesting area to zero in on the 16 through 20. By the way, Chris Kirk, 2 straight top 10s. Because I'm not quite feeling the double pay up this week.
Okay.
I kind of like a more balanced build. especially on DraftKings. Different scenario on Fanduel, but I just, you don't have this incredible course history with JT, DJ, Hovland. So,
I am
bless you.
sorry. I keep sneezing.
So I
The
just,
golf allergies.
yeah. So I know we mentioned a bunch of 6K guys to consider this week, but I just kind of like the build of maybe one pay up guy and then more of a balanced build.
Yeah, I don't like the top of the pricing either this week. I just think the course uniqueness and what it takes to win at a course like this, I just don't think it's right in the wheelhouse of some of the big dudes, Thomas, Johnson, Reed, those guys. I almost like that next level even better. The dangerous guys always that are right around there, Hovland, Oosthuizen, Answer, M. Those guys are a little bit more interesting to me.
Yeah, I think Reed is the guy near the top that I'm considering the most. He has
Okay.
a runner up finish here twice, actually.
Yep.
I like his recent form a little bit better than DJ, which is funny. DJ, it feels like he's playing awful because he missed the cut at the Masters, and he was awful that week. But then
Yeah.
he was tied for 13th at the RBC, and it was the quietest, most ho hum tied for 13th, imaginable. He just seemed like he was kind of cruising along, and that
Yeah.
just shows you his brilliance that he can do that
Oh yeah.
without
He
the
just
A
plays
game.
average and he gets a top five. I mean,
I
that's
know.
why he was my pick in the Masters.
Yeah.
But I'm still stinging from that one. But yeah, if he puts it together, he's the best player. I mean, it's that simple.
Right. So
There's no
if
doubt
if
about
he
it.
if he finally does put it back together, then he may win this by three, and we're
Yeah.
going to be kicking ourselves. But I don't think we need to pay up there. I'd like to save a
No,
little bit and go with some of the cheaper stars at the top.
I agree. And there's no doubt Thomas and Johnson both will get tons of action because, a lot of the other big names aren't in here. So if we can fade those two guys and still put together, a high to medium lineup, I think really could be contrarian enough to take some stuff down. Hopefully we're
Absolutely.
pulling that clip to replay.
Let's maybe I'll add in just a couple more guys to consider
Okay.
in that mid tier. How about two former winners, Kevin Streelman and
Yeah.
Gary Woodland, with
Yes.
good prices? Streelman's been a little steadier recently than Woodland, who's been up and down, but he's been injured. He did tie for six at the Valero, and he's a kind of guy who I think will go under the radar a little bit because he's been so inconsistent. I mean, we were really hesitant to play him
Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks ago, but this could be a nice turning point for him, a place where he's won before.
Yeah, and I'll give you two more winners that I'm considering. And I do love that psychology of winning on the course. I mean, even if they get a top five for you in DFS, that's going to be box cars. But what about Adam Hadwin, who's not had a bad year at all? I mean, he's been overdone by his Canadian brethren there in Corey Connors, but Adam Hadwin's a good golfer. He can get it done. And also Charles Schwartzel. I mean, talk about Oosthuizen and Schwartzel losing that event. He's a champion here too. So sneaky guy that no one's talking about.
Yeah, and I actually heard an interview with Schwartzel this week, and he talked about driving into this course. They have banners of all the former winners with
Ah,
pictures on there, and he talked about how that gave him a little boost, a little momentum, a little mojo heading into the
nice.
week. Returning to a course where he's won before and getting that extra warm welcome. So I
Yeah.
think it is a slight bump in those guys' favor.
Yeah, and he played well. Watching him in that, event last week, he played terrific. I think he probably outplayed his partner a little bit actually. So, yeah, there's some. I like the medium build strategy this week with a couple of those value plays you mentioned. I think you can come up with a team that you at least feel good about everybody making the cut, which is the key to DFS golf. That not having to drag somebody across the line there really helps for sure.
Yeah, and if you're new to our program and you want to check out the lineups that we end up with, we build full FanDuel lineups and a DraftKings coaches clipboard with highlighted players and pivot options. And you can get those as a member. We give those out Wednesday night. So feel free to join us at dfscoachtalk.com. And if you grab a membership, you'll get access to all of our sports with whichever length of time you pick.
Absolutely. And also wanted to mention another one of our sponsors, Monkey Knife Fight. You can sign up there as a first-time user with the promo code Coach Talk, and they have a great bonus set up for you. It's a fun props play site that a lot of people are enjoying. So shout out to them. And of course, our partners at betus.com.pa. You can always sign up there as well. We have a promotion going right now where if you sign up for the first time with them and use the promo code Coach Talk, you get a free month of the entire month coming up of May for free with Coach Talk. And you get to use that deposit money of $149 at BetUS to bet maybe on some of these long shot golfers. Try to hit boxcars here. And we'd love to have you. So outstanding. Any other golf knowledge you want to rain upon us here?
I think that covers it for now. I'm going to go finish out these lineups.
Sounds good. And Wednesdays are our busy day here at Coach Talk. So jump in if you come aboard right now. If you're listening to this or checked out our basketball pod earlier, just jump in, dfscoachtalk.com, and you'll be in there tonight for all of our baseball lineups. As Andrew explained what lineups we provide, all of our basketball lineups, and our golf lineup we give out this evening for the tee times tomorrow morning. So that is it. We really enjoyed spending this time with you. Hopefully I don't keep sneezing over here. See what the deal is with that. And this should be a fun tournament. It is a beautiful course to watch with the water and trees and sand. And it's just a very scenic course. So it should be fun to tune into that this week. So that is it, my friend. Let's take down some golf stuff and get this momentum working in the right direction. So thank you, everyone, for listening in, and we will certainly catch you again next week as we look to crush it in DFS PGA.